Namaste. Welcome to Awakened Living with Nibodhi. Have you ever gone on a trip, an airplane trip, and arrived at your destination and felt like your body, your mind, and everything was completely off and a million miles away from where you want to be? Your digestive system gets thrown into a tizzy. We're exhausted and we can't sleep. Depending on your constitution, you may be constipated or have loose motion, feel gassy and bloating. Your legs are swollen. You're hungry at really strange hours. The nervous system is completely out of rhythm. This is normal. Last month, I took a 42-hour flight to India, four flights and 42 hours, changed time zones by 14 hours. And then after 18 days, flew back on four more flights that was 52 hours. And I actually did really well for the most part. My body handled it really well. Within about 24 hours, I was accustomed to the new time zone. And I didn't feel like I was wrecked by this journey. And that's because I had a process, I had a system. And so today I want to share with you about that because we all are going to travel, hopefully, at some point in our life. And I actually have a lot of travel coming up in the near future as well. And so I want to talk about how to prepare for a flight, what to do during an incredibly long flight, and how to essentially go into a biocircadian rhythm once you arrive in the new place. And this is really where Ayurvedic principles have helped immensely because I can't take my kitchen with me. I don't have my normal bed. I don't have my pillow. I don't have my normal routine during those flights. And so how to stay relatively in harmony during this period of time, how to really identify what our body needs and how to make the best adjustments possible. So first and foremost, why does travel affect us so much? So it's actually really easy, especially if you're flying by plane. It's because travel is Vata provoking. It's actually one of the most Vata provoking experiences we can have. And so if you just think about what happens when you fly, while it doesn't feel like it, you're moving through the air at really high speeds at very high. I mean, you know you're at high altitude, but you're moving at very high speed. So that's Vata provoking. But the biggest part is that the cabin in the plane is incredibly dry, number one. We're sitting for hours without proper circulation. They offer us food at kind of irregular patterns as far as our normal cycle goes. We're crossing multiple time zones. We're exposed to excessive amounts of EMFs, especially with these new planes that have Wi-Fi on them. We're exposed to artificial lighting. Our sleep is completely thrown off. All the normal routines that are keeping us grounded are completely thrown off. All these factors vitiate Vata. So when Vata becomes exacerbated, aggravated, we get gassy, bloating, constipation, anxiety, restlessness, dry eyes, dry mouth, dry skin, fatigue, insomnia, all the typical Vata things. In addition, air travel also affects our Agni, the digestive fire, because our body likes rhythm. It likes regular meal times, it likes regular sleep, and all of these things that are associated with travel disrupt our natural environment. So it's a very simple strategy I've put together based on Ayurvedic principles. Remember, opposite cures imbalances. With homeopathy, it's like cures like. With Ayurveda, it's opposite cures like. So traveling is a drying experience, so we need moisture. Traveling tends to be cold. They air condition the planes for the most part, so we need warmth. Traveling is irregular, so we need to create routines, right? And so here's what I do. I start usually 24 to 48 hours before I start the trip, and it's to calm Vata. So The first thing is I basically stop having, I'm Pitta, so I like raw foods. I stop having raw foods. Regardless of your dosha, we want to avoid raw foods in about 24 to 48 hours before the trip because that increases Vata. Now, Ayurveda never encourages ice or ice cold drinks, but if you're in the habit of doing that, stop drinking these icy drinks. Also, Ayurveda would say avoid like really heavy food, greasy food, things like that. We want warm, cooked food, nourishing food. Khichdi is fantastic. It's the best. Warm vegetable soups, warm vegetable curries or stews. Something like cooked vegetables with rice. Anything that's relatively easy to digest. And using digestive spices. My favorite is CCFG, cumin, coriander, fennel, ginger. You could add some hing, a little black pepper. Another really crucial thing before getting on the flight, and it's just crucial for life in general, but that's really making sure that you're hydrated. Maybe having extra electrolytes, drinking warm herbal teas. And if you have a Vata constitution, doing abhyanga with warm sesame oil, taking warm baths before you go. And then I make a travel kit. I call it the Vata travel kit. And so in mine, I put a little bottle of sesame oil, less than 100 milliliters, because that's what we're allowed to carry on the plane. A little packet of digestive spices, cumin, coriander, fennel, and ginger powder to mix on my food or in water. I carry single serving electrolyte packets, and I either make my own snacks or I get protein bars, like high quality protein bars. My favorite is the Aloha bar or the Go Raw bar, and I carry those with me. It's high dense nutrients. I'll also carry some dates and almonds with me because that's a nice Ojas tonic. But I prepare my own food. And so basically getting these things ready before you go, that preparation makes the whole trip way easier. Then once you get on the plane, this is where, it gets a little more complicated because you're sitting in this flying metal tube for hours and hours and hours, right? You're barely moving. And so there's three things that are really important to focus on. Number one is staying hydrated. Drink about a cup of water every hour. Put electrolytes in there at least several times during the flight. And movement. And you can do movement sitting in your chair. You can do ankle rolls, shoulder rolls, things like this. You can walk up and down the plane. If you're on an international flight and there's a lot of room in the back, you can do some light, gentle qigong. And really eating lightly, keep digestion light. The plane's doing most of the work. A lot of the times when I fly, I will fast. On flights where you can order meals, most flights offer fruit platters, which is a good substitution for eating heavy foods, although it's not going to be organic. So in general, I tend to like fasting when I travel, and just drinking, using electrolytes, very easy to do. Staying hydrated is the most important thing. That's much better than overfilling the stomach. Snacking on the plane also it's not a really great thing. And also, if you're not hungry, just because they're serving a meal, like, don't think that you need to eat the meal. You can, you know, say, I don't want the meal right now. You don't have to eat on a plane. Eat very lightly. Then you want to make sure that you move. So, taking a walk, if it's a long flight, 14-hour flights from US to India, it's usually 14 hours. Walk every 2 or 3 hours up and down the aisle, right? It's really important to do that. Stand, go in the back and stand, do some qigong. Again, pump your feet, do shoulder rolls, move, move, move. Hydrate, move, and eat lightly. You don't need to do some elaborate yoga practice to get enough movement. Then if you have a layover, that's actually a really good time to get a lot of movement instead of just sitting there. A lot of airports now have yoga rooms, and a lot of them are really nice, but don't use their yoga mats. They're disgusting. You don't want that touching your body. Bring your own yoga mat. If you have room on your carry-on, bring your own yoga mat. Definitely. If you only have a short layover, you can just do like a 7 to 10 minute qigong routine in the corner somewhere, or not in the corner. It doesn't matter. Just do a qigong routine, or just walk the whole time you're doing your layover. And another thing that you can do is do breath work on the plane and during layovers. I do a lot of breath work on the plane. I do what's called samavrita breathing, equal breath work. So you inhale for the count of 4, 6, or 8. You hold that breath for the same count, You exhale for the same count and you hold out for the same count. You can also do that same practice with alternate nostril breathing. You can do this during your layover as well. The other thing that's really important is applying oil to the nose. I typically bring sesame oil, 100 milliliters or less of sesame oil on the plane, and I apply it to my nose before I get on the plane, throughout the flight, almost every hour, every other hour, and when I arrive. And interestingly, on this last flight, I forgot to pack my sesame oil. And so the other cool thing was that with our meal, they had this little pack of butter. Now, albeit it wasn't organic or grass-fed, but it was something oily. And so I did it. I opened up the butter packet and I lubricated my nose with it. And I kept the little butter packet so I could do it throughout the flight. And it worked wonders. So in an emergency, works wonders. Then you arrive in your place. You arrive where you're supposed to be. So the easiest thing to do is go find the earth. It's very, very important. Go find the earth. Put your feet on the earth. As long as it's not ice cold or soaking wet from a monsoon, put your bare feet on the earth. Put your hands on the earth. If for some reason that feels uncomfortable to you, go hug a tree for about 5 minutes. Super essential. If you have a place that has a bathtub. Now, I went to India. We don't have bathtubs. We don't even have hot water, and nor do we want it. It's so hot there. I love the cold shower. Okay. But if you're in a place where you actually have a bathtub, it would be a good plan when you arrive, after you go on the earth, to put some oil on the body. Sesame oil is the best for calming Vata. Take a warm bath. If you can, bring some salts with you, some sea salt, some Himalaya salt. Put that in the bathtub and take a warm oil bath and then take a bath, because the salt actually draws out the EMFs. And if you can, also bring some essential oils with you. Those also really help. The next morning after you arrive in the new place, actually really make an intention to get up early. Get up before or with the sun and go get that fresh morning light exposure. Get outside, get the light exposure. If you can, put your feet on the earth again. This is allowing your body to adjust to the biocircadian cycle. And then depending on how long you're going to be in a place, really the first couple of days, eat warm grounding foods. If you can, eat khichdi, eat very well cooked vegetables, vegetable stews, grounding grain vegetables, grains with vegetables, with some olive oil in it, with some ghee in it. Doesn't have to be an enormous meal. Eat lightly your first few days, but make it something that's very easy to digest. If you're in a really tropical place, it's really warm, you can eat some light fruits. And if you arrive in the morning in a new place, I would say try and stay up for the day. Instead of taking a nap, even if you're exhausted, try and stay up most of the day so you can adjust to the new time cycle. When I travel, I actually try to carry I carry an aromatherapy packet. I usually have rose in there. I have some lavender, some sandalwood, vetiver. I love blue lotus because that opens my pineal gland, having essential oils. And then just really, when you get to this new place, get on a new schedule, do some gentle qigong, go for a walk. Really, it's essentially a 3-part ritual. You plan for the trip, and then when you arrive. And before the trip, during the trip, after the trip, you want to make sure that you're warm, you're hydrated, you're supporting your digestion, you're supporting the mucous membranes. Before and after you go, you're getting the earth, you're getting the light, all the beautiful things that we need. Okay. Then, very simple. You start eating the local foods. You start drinking the local water. You start going in nature in the local places, and you are now part of nature again. You're part of that new place. It doesn't really have to take 4 or 5 days of jet lag to recover or to adjust. It can be done within the first day if we do the right things. And then the rest of the trip, the vacation can be wonderful, and then do the same process when you return home. So that's a very brief Ayurvedic travel plan. And I've actually created an Ayurvedic travel guide PDF that's for free. And so if you go to my website, Nibodhi.com, and go to newsletter, if you sign up for my free newsletter, which comes twice a month, which is packed full of beautiful inspiration, wisdom from Ayurveda. If you sign up for that newsletter, you'll get the Ayurveda travel guide for free. So that's this week's discussion. Thank you for joining me. And if you found this valuable, please subscribe, leave your comments and reviews, and share this with anyone who you think might benefit. And may your hearts and consciousness be filled with love, and go out and express that in everything you do. Namaste.